in this video we're going to go over how to become a flapper in 8 easy steps. The first step of anything is knowing what you're talking about. So what a flapper girl was she's a girl right after the First World War during the 1920s who had a disdain for anything conventional, such as like the way they dress and the way they should behave. Shorter dresses, they bobbed their hair, they wore lots of makeup. They were the girls who were seen smoking, drinking, dancing, going out on dates, and being the life of the party. They also had a great love for movies, and this was all because of the new independence that they had just gotten, with the right to vote and the right to work in factories and not be sent and had to stay in the home and be under the control. Josephine Baker, who was another performer, and one of the most famous is Josephine Fitzgerald. She was the wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald, and she was a big socialite during this time. Now that you've started acting like a flapper, you need to start talking like one too. So instead of using the words you use now, we're going to institute some new ones. So instead of the word good, you could use words like the bee's knees, or the cat's pajamas, the cat's meow, or spunky, spiffy. Instead of bad, start saying applesauce, or baloney, or horse feathers, or any number of other words. Instead of saying like some body parts, instead of saying your feet, you can say your dogs. Instead of saying your legs, they can be like stilts. Your mouth and your lips is another word that you can use as kisser. Your nose is your smeller. And another word for money, because they were really obsessed with money, was sugar. Sweetie is anyone that you hate and you don't really like, and butt me is to give me a cigarette. Instead of sitting at home and watching TV when you're bored, try doing a crossword. And if you don't have your driver's license yet, go get your driver's license and get a really nice car and drive it around. And drive it really fast, because that's what flappers did. They drove around everywhere they could, and they weren't afraid to drive fast. Instead of sitting at home or going to really popular dance clubs, try going to jazz clubs, because that's what the type of music that was popular during the 1920s. Also pout, like all the time. They didn't really smile at all, and if they did, they just give like a polite, like little tiny smile. And also you need to keep your hair and makeup perfect at all times. Even if you're just going like outside to the grocery store, or just going to walk your dog or whatever, your makeup has to be perfect. Their makeup was always perfect, and if it wasn't, they'd stop just in the middle of the street to fix it. Also, you have to be very flirtatious and like confident, but not overly confident. Your transformation into becoming a flapper would not be complete without the proper hair. So all girls during that, especially the flapper girls, had really short bobs, and no one had long hair anymore. The girls would have all kinds of different bobs, just depending on like the way their hair was or the way their face was. So no matter what your hair looks like and no matter what your face shape you have, you can rock a bob too. So now that you know how to act and talk like a flapper, it's time to learn how to dress. So for dresses, they would wear ones that had either like a plunging neckline or were covered in beads or fringe or something that just kind of made them over the top. And they'd have to be to right above their knee, which was different because before that time they'd be almost to the floor. They also wore stockings, which are kind of like really long socks that would go up to like halfway up your thighs, but now they would roll them down. So you should roll them down to just above your knee or right below your knees. Also, they would wear really long satin gloves that would come almost up to their shoulder or at least right past their elbow. Also, you can wear different cute little hats and headbands, but anything that you wear should be covered in fringe or feathers. They also they started getting into suits, but they'd always be skirt suits, and they'd have long strands of pearls. And So now that your wardrobe is the bee's knees, let's get started on makeup. So they would always have very, very clean skin, so they would have to wash it all the time. They had really, really thin eyebrows that that were kind of more drawn on and they were straight across or pointed a little bit down. They also wanted to achieve that really big doe-eyed look, so they'd put on really dark eyeshadow and like the smoky eye look with like false lashes, mascara, the whole kit and caboodle. So also they would have really bright red lips, but the way they would do it was they just put it on like the tops of their lips. So they'd look really weird when they were just smiling, so that's kind of why they would always have that signature pout, because without it, they'd look kind of weird. Step number 8, the last and final step of this process, is just to go out and live your life as a flapper girl you now are.